So the first NFL game's on Thursday, right?
Mm-mm.
What?
No,
Is Mr. Gary Anderson of Scottsdale, Arizona. His stewards are Miss Judy DiPaolo and Mr. Michael Halstead, both of the Kennel Club of Philadelphia.
And here we go down the non-sporting group lineup. 21 breeds and varieties, starting with the standard poodle, the miniature poodle, the Bichon Frise, the Coton de Tuileries, the Lao Chen, the Dalmatian, the Xolo Squintley, the Finnish Spitz, the Keeshond, the American Eskimo, the Norwegian Lundehund, the Shiba Inu, the Schipperke, the Lhasa Apso, the Tibetan Spaniel, the Tibetan Terrier, the Boston Terrier, the French Bulldog, the Bulldog, the Chinese Shar-Pei, and the Chow Chow.
There's your non-sporting group. No better proof that dogs come in all shapes and sizes. Important considerations if you're thinking about adopting. So more on that from our experts at Purina.
I couldn't agree more. If you're thinking about adding a dog to your family, it's important to consider their unique characteristics and if you'll be able to meet their needs.
And the needs of these breeds can vary greatly. For example, some dogs need more space and exercise than others based on their size and activity level. Health needs can also vary greatly.
The same is true for grooming. Some coats are more high maintenance than others. Even seemingly little things can make a big difference in whether a dog is right for you.
Now, let's see some more adorable dogs, John.
Indeed, we will, and absolutely correct. We need to match our dogs with our lifestyles.
Can't be any more adorable. They're great dogs. You know, Bichons were originally a street dog with organ grinders and dancers at a Bichon Frise to help attract attention to what they were doing. The cheerful attitude is the hallmark of the breed. It's a little white powder puff of a dog. It's great fun. The Finnish Spitz. This is Miko, who's an 8-year-old male. Sounds like one of the oldest dogs we've seen in the groups today.
Well, it's also a breed that hasn't received much television time.
Well, they're the barking bird dog. They should look like a red fox, but they are called the barking bird dog because they bark to keep the bird in place and let the hunter know where the bird is. Do a lot of work above the Arctic Circle, so they have this dense double coat.
Good. Right on around for
They have the northern breeds look to them with a pointed muzzle, brush tail, prick ears. Good coat. That's Miko.
Lhasa Apso. The breed is
The Lhasa Apso.
The
Beautiful Lhasa Apso. Breeder owner handler Sandra Giles.
The original guardians of the Tibetan monasteries.
For very special favors.
They watched over stuff and warned the mastiffs when bad stuff was coming at them so that the mastiffs could do something.
Lhasa Apso.
So JJ stands for Jingle Juice, was born Christmas week out of a dam named Effervescence. So the puppies were named Jingle Juice, Mary Manhattan, and Ornamentini. 3.5-year-old male.
Very good. Right on around
Sandra
for me.
Giles, the breeder owner handler from Sabo, Virginia.
So who will be the last dog into Best in Show? We'll find out right after this.
This is where it happened. People still come up to me and talk about it. When you're in it, you're not thinking of the stories they'll tell. Just get yourself in the right position. You never know when a play will become legendary. When the moment comes, will you be ready?
Make it a season you'll never forget when you bet on baseball. BetMGM Sportsbook. Make it legendary.
I'm Chad. I work for a professional football team, and I earned my degree online from SNHU. It fit with my schedule. Mondays, Tuesdays, those are packing days. I can get all my assignments done. Wednesday, we're on the practice field. Thursday, initial discussion post is due. We're going to leave on Friday. We're playing an East Coast trip. I'm going to take advantage of the time spent on the bus and even in the hotel room to finish any of my other coursework that I needed to do prior to kickoff on Sunday. SNHU and the support system, they make it possible. Go to snhu.edu.
Dogs and football, what could be better? This is Vinny James, a Green Bay Packers superfan. He was named after Vince Lombardi. And speaking of great names, these fluffy pups belong to 49ers fullback Kyle Juszczyk. Say hello to Mozzarella and Pierogi.
A cat in dog's clothing is what they call the Shiba Inu. This is Clarence. We have Clarence is his name.
No, from the historic movie, the best comedy of all time, Airplane, the movie. Hey, speaking of that, look at this.
That's your Chinese Shar-Pei.
I don't really know if I'm on the right thing,
Deep
but
wrinkles.
this was the only sports life that I could find.
Here's the Boston Terrier. Was once one of the most registered dogs in the country, the AKC. This is Mikey,
Down.
handled by Margaret Noble, 3-year-old male. The gentleman,
What do you need? I'm ignoring you.
state dog in Massachusetts, of course, the American gentleman. I love Bostons. They're great little dogs. Great therapy dogs, too. They've done great work. As all our dogs were therapy dogs, and we're finding a lot more of them as we go, we even do a symposium for therapy dogs, the National Dog Show Therapy Dog Symposium on December 13th at Rowan University.
Here's another dog that's very popular in the therapy world as well, the French Bulldog.
Very recognizable Frenchie. This is named Finn. He's a half brother to the dog that won Best in Show here, Winston, 2 years ago. 2-year-old with Perry Pace.
beer.
Young body, old face, like most Frenchies. Just barely 3 years old, almost 3 years old.
Very good. Right on around.
Very popular, of course, the number one breed in registrations for the American Kennel Club the last 2 years.
Bulldog got its name
Welcome
from
in.
ancient
And a bulldog named Buns.
Despite his tough guy looks, he's a fun-loving, extremely
Fantasy football
affectionate.
Ken McKenna, the breeder owner
After that,
handler from
12
Swampscott,
hours. So much
Massachusetts.
fun.
There it is with the classic waddle, side to side.
You could go take a word.
They are the mascot bulldogs for 40 American colleges and universities.
To me, it looks choppy.
And that
but
sour expression,
again, I
which
don't
is
have
kind of misleading
Great
because they're
processor.
a very
Thank you. Right on around.
agreeable, friendly, loving
Uh,
family dog.
Yeah.
And some of the cutest puppies I've ever seen.
That's the truth. Don't buy a dog because he's a cute puppy. Buy him because he fits your lifestyle and your family as an adult.
Here's the cut.
You find them.
He's calling out the breed series, doing our work.
This is the final cut on our way to Best in Show.
Circle.
It's a nice breed.
Okay.
What do you like?
Well, I mean, I love Perry and the Frenchie.
Delasso's number one.
The Lhasa Apso.
Awesome.
JJ. Nice lineup. The French Bulldog goes second, the Shar-Pei goes third, and the Standard Poodle is fourth.
There's your best in show group. It has been assembled. So now let's welcome Steve Kornacki.
All right, we're finding out what's popular with the judges, but what about what's popular all across the country? Let's take a look at this year's rankings, the top dog breeds in the United States here. And look, last year it was a big story. The French Bulldog last year dethroned the Labrador Retriever, which had been the most popular breed for 31 straight years. People said, was that a fluke? Was it a one-hit wonder? Was it an accounting error? It was none of those things. The French Bulldog retains the number one spot for the second straight year. The Labs have got to pick it up if they want to get back to number one. Let's look now at the rest of the top 10 here. I'm going to tell you something you've probably not heard that often. A big stride for the Dachshunds, moving from number 9 up to number 6, knocking on the door of the top 5. And you see in 9th place there, the Rottweilers, they've fallen from 7th. They want to keep in the top 10 next year. Let's see if they can next year when we check in. How about some movers and shakers here? We're talking about maybe some emerging dog breeds like, how about the Moody? Just 2 years ago, became a recognized breed in this country, already now making noise, moving 20 spots in just the last year. Or the Finnish Lapoon, look at that, a 32-spot jump there. Good family dog. The Senjis, the Papians, too, also making a little bit of noise here as far as popularity goes. And popularity, not just of breeds. Let's look at the rankings for names, for male dogs, for female dogs. A lot of stability with last year. We saw Luna number 1 last year. We've seen Max up there for a while. On the female side, Luna, Stella, maybe seeing a bit of a celestial theme right there. These are the national rankings for dog names. How about where the dog show is being held? The top names in the city of Philadelphia, they are Peanut, Jack, and then how about this one? I've never met a dog named Adonis in my life, but if I want to, Adonis. Now I know where to go.
Steve, speaking of knowing where to go, we have one final dog joining 6 others for Best in Show.
No way. The gecko was just spotted down the street.
I've always wanted to meet him. Ever since Geico's 24/7 emergency roadside service got us out of a jam.
Sounds like you got more than just savings, my dudes.
Sir, do we know you?
Get more than just savings. Get more with Geico.
Welcome in, other person. Literally just waiting. Left. No, you're not watching? Wow, thanks. Flo, feel free to, I don't know if we can...
The NBC News mobile app. Get connected to your favorite news shows
so that way you guys
for
can
the top stories, breaking news, and live video. Download the NBC News mobile app now.
Welcome back to the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center, home of the National Dog Show presented by Purina. Here they are. All 7 of our Best in Show finalists. And there are our last 22 winners. 22 years, David.
I'm ready for 23. Let's see who's going to join this picture next year.
Judging Best in Show is Mr. George Miltinovich from Fresno, California. His steward is our own show chairman, Mr. Frank DiPaolo.
Well, Mr. Milutinovich is going to make history no matter what he does because none of these 7 breeds have ever won a Best in Show at our show, John.
That's an interesting stat, huh?
It is amazing. He's got a great lineup, too. He's got dogs with over 100 Bests in Shows. So let's see. Here's the one with the most, 42 on the Giant Schnauzer, number 1 show dog in America right now.
Can he continue today?
It says Monty won the group. Katie Brandon from Chaplin, Connecticut is the owner handler.
There's a nice shot of Monty at home.
Yeah. I did see that.
Using the sofa, what it was meant for.
Very nice. And
Monty
So-
thinks he's a 10 up
Currently, it looks like
at home.
this is gonna start just a little bit late. That goes
From the
to
working group, the Giant Schnauzer.
live schedule. It shows me
Beautiful.
it doesn't start at
Representing the herd
truly
group,
9, but
the Berger
9:07.
Picard.
Berger Picard. This is Rupert.
It's supposed to start right at 9.
The
but when I
Berger
look at
Picard,
it,
who has won
shows me
7 best in
9:07.
shows.
But
Good for a
I think we're on
Berger.
the right thing. Goes all the
Number
way
1 in the breed for the last 2 years.
We're
until
keeper of the gates at home for the
9
little
p.m.
infant, huh?
tonight. Look at all this. This is what you're in store for.
Very nice. And once
And
around,
maybe
please.
we'll watch some darts if you
Beautiful dog.
guys are still watching.
From the herding group, the Berger Picard.
But, oh yeah, see, shows that this doesn't stop.
Representing the hound group,
We'll switch us
the
over.
Beef and
Beautiful
Hound.
and elegant.
We should.
The Beef and Hound, 6-year-old female named This. Sarah Murphy, breeder, owner, handler.
But unfortunately, yeah, we're stuck.
Mr. Miljatinovich
While I'm
is judging
watching
here
this,
today from
while
Fresno,
we're watching
California.
I'm just going to be hanging
Show
out.
has a national
Might say a few things,
implications
might
from
not. For some
judges,
reason, I can't get,
exhibitors,
the live
and
chat
dogs.
to come on.
We have deep respect for
Sorry
our
about
best in
that.
show judges.
But,
They have to know so much about so many.
I mean, if you need anything, just tweet at me. You guys know where to find it.
Once around, please.
And they're judging on the day. Everything's got to be different. He's got 7 great dogs in there. Who's going to give him the best show? In addition to being, of course, the best specimen of their breed. But it's a dog show, and you got to show. You need to see that today if you're the best in show judge. This is Houston, the Clumber Spaniel from the sporting group.
And down to
Exciting young dog, just getting started in his career. Kevin Heller, Houston. Lexi Ditlow handling.
Very nice. Once around, please.
Clumber's never even won a group here before. Will this be its year?
Representing the
Let's see what
terrier
happens.
group, the Welsh Terrier.
A nice close up on that coat there we were describing earlier. That very dense.
This is another exciting dog, new to the scene here. Dog's just been back for a little over a year. Been in 50 shows and gone best in show in 21 of them. Gabriel Rangel is one of our top terrier handlers for years. He's won everything there is to win. Let's see if he's got it here with.
I'm
Barry,
still watching the
Welsh
dog show.
Terrier.
The marathon got
All
delayed
of these
because of the
best
dog
in
show.
show dogs are
Very
Purina
nice.
Pro
Thank you.
Plan
Once
dogs.
around, please.
The dog looks really cute though. No. I'm sorry.
They're athletes.
Person
They
who
have
just
to have the
joined.
right kind of
It is
diet
still the dog
to be able to
show.
perform their
So we're
jobs.
going until 9:07. The marathon's been delayed.
The Lhasa Apso.
And then afterwards, I mean,
The
hopefully
Lhasa Apso.
Matthew Berry isn't mean to me.
It's a beautiful dog.
JJ just got his first best in show 3 nights ago.
You see,
Here on the
the
circuit for an earlier show.
look up
Susan
Eastern
Giles, breeder owner
Carolina
handler,
University
with JJ. There's JJ at home.
football player.
Hasn't been to hair and
Apparently, I
makeup
was like
just yet.
I was on Eastern
Ooh,
Carolina,
good shot.
like someone from their
These are real dogs.
Very nice.
their
These are real
football
dogs. We
team,
dress them
like,
up,
DM'd
bring
the
the
girl
dog shows on the
like
weekends.
3 times in a row, and
But
she
your
took it to the
dog
game
is
like a
the
prick
same
got
as
a couple
them. In
DMs.
fact, if you're watching at home, when we're all done here, your dog is a real
Sorry,
best in show
person who
dog. So
joined,
lean over, hug
we
them,
are
and tell them.
still watching. This.
Vito, your boy Vito, John.
Hey. No, don't make me jump.
The pug won
Vito's
best in
won
group.
24 all breed
No big
best in
deal.
shows, second
Yep.
only in that category to what's gone on with the Giant. Kind of like Vito.
Person that joined,
In
I'm
cahoots.
so sorry.
Carolyn Koch is the owner.
We have
There
to
he is
watch
at home
the
on the leathers.
dog show until 9:07. We're gonna let this
Pug
run through.
mug coming right at you.
And we're going
We
to
always talk about the
hopefully
pug
watch
also
fantasy
is
football for
in
12
multum
hours.
parbo is the saying for a lot of dog in a small space. The largest toy dog. Michael Scott handling. He's looked in them all.
And going down his line, the first choice he will make will be the reserve champion, the second place winner.
To the judges who sent these magnificent examples of their groups here, thank you so much. Tonight, I'm honored to reserve Best in Show to the Welsh.
Ooh,
thank you
who's
so
going to go
much.
Best in
All
Show?
right, there's your reserve champion.
Here goes Best in Show. Let's go.
And Best in Show
Here it
tonight
comes.
goes to the Pug.
No,
The Pug won
Damn it.
Best in
How
Show.
about that, huh?
Vito. That keeps your Vito impression alive for a while.
Now we have to
I
get
told you this wasn't my first rodeo.
huge.
Michael Scott, one of our great handlers, handles the Pug Vito for Carolyn Koch, the owner.
Stand aside, I take large steps.
Bon appetit.
And just so you guys know, the Pug
There's
won
an
Best in
EV
Show.
for each side
I
of you.
believe now
The Kia
we're about to
EV9
get
and EV6,
all fantasy football.
assembled with pride in Georgia. Kia, movement that inspires.
If you feel held back by the weight of navigating financial decisions, we can give you the tools to help you break free from what's slowing you down. Credit Karma gives you personalized guidance to improve your credit, savings, taxes, and more. So you can find your way to money. Intuit Credit Karma. Karma you can count on.
He's our small but mighty Best in Show winner, Vito. He represents the first national dog show title for the toy group since 2017.
Michael Scott, I feel like we talk to you an awful lot at these shows.
So
Congratulations.
The Pug owner's name
Tell
is
me
Michael
about
Scott.
Vito. Why is this such
Don't
a
worry.
special dog?
He's got a
In
beautiful
1
head and
minute,
expression.
you will have
Yes, he
He's a
does.
very compact dog, which they're supposed to be. And his
a little disappointing.
movement, he's got wonderful movement and side gait, which is appealing to a lot of people, whether they know the breed specifics or not.
Big fan favorite. I mean, there was a lot of applause for this little man. Yeah. Does Vito know he won? He looks a little smug.
He's very smug. I do think he knows. Especially my wife's trying to get his attention there, and he loves that.
I know. Congratulations to you and your wife, Michelle. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. And if you missed your favorite dog, go to nationaldogshow.com to watch the videos of every breed. You can also watch full group judgings, including Best in Show on NBC Sports YouTube channel. So for David Fry, Mary Carrillo, Brittany Urton, Steve Kornacki, and the entire broadcast team, I'm John O'Hurley saying Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Jen in makeup yesterday or a couple of days ago told me I need to get a
Here we
haircut.
go.
Oh, wow. Very few people in America who aren't telling me to
Yes,
remove
we know.
hair from my
Wow.
body in some way or
Okay.
another. Stones being thrown in glass houses because there are a lot of things that other shows might do better than us, but there's nothing that is done better in the fantasy football industry than the ability to grow bad facial hair in this show.
100%.
Because
I'll take the
you got
charge.
nothing. Matthew's got absolutely nothing. Lawrence Jackson, unfortunately, he does raise the bar a little bit. But
Yeah.
And also, as well, in terms of whether I'm going to shave, I haven't shaved in 33 years. I've never shaved.
This is just a look.
33 years of work, and I don't plan on shaving anytime soon.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. Connor Rogers, Matthew Berry, dressed very clean today.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Serie A kicked off
You
on
hear
the
me too?
weekend in
Yeah.
Italy, and Matthew brought some Milano to Stanford.
Really? The European cut? Very nice.
Yeah. I'm ready to
Tailored
to stand on the sideline of the pitch. Yeah.
Well, welcome in everybody.
It
You're
doesn't have a very
finally here.
football coach feel.
I
It's
will,
soccer.
I will not
Fantasy
have
football.
either of you
Hope
besmirch
you guys
the
are
good
excited to watch
name
all 12
of the
hours with
NBC
me.
Sports Wardrobe
Should be
Department,
fun.
who do an
Maybe
amazing.
I like the look.
They do an amazing job given what little I've given them to
I
work
think
with.
it's all reruns. I've
given them very little to
think
work
any
with.
of this
You
is
understand
actually
exactly.
live.
You understand?
Most people like say blank canvas.
Yeah,
You're
no,
a tough
it's
canvas.
a tough canvas.
Yeah.
They're in there with a
And
chisel
I've watched
and
every
a
single one of these
hammer.
shows. So
I don't think you
think
can
they did
understand.
I'm going to be
magnificent
even
job making it look
smarter.
like
I'm going to have a
Antonio
second
Conte.
take
Yeah,
on every single show.
I appreciate
Nice to see
that.
you trying contrasted colors today instead of just being in a onesie.
Yeah, no, I like the dark colors. Yeah,
Well, a lot going on.
Has a slimming effect,
Yeah.
which is always.
You know what's nice about this show? Like, you can't just show up and not expect to get absolutely
No,
destroyed.
Evil
of
Jay
course.
is
You
still
walk in the
here.
set and like things probably go
Yep.
really bad for you. And
Watch
here's
this.
should Jay
Jamie, I
shave
voted
his
that Jay
mustache?
shave his mustache.
The
He should've stayed
regulars
as
are
Evil Jay.
actually on the side of
But
Pecan.
Yeah.
I agree.
no,
I vote
unfortunately,
no
still
up.
shaved.
I know.
So sad.
It's really like you heard the clip at the beginning of the show where Jay's like hasn't shaved in 33 years. It's like this is basically Jay's like, look, I finally hit puberty.
Yeah.
Look at this. I like.
I don't know if you'll notice today. It looks.
I kind of have my own little Evil Jay
Yeah,
going.
it doesn't really grow.
Clark.
No, it doesn't.
Not really.
Believe it or
Amazing.
not, we're going to talk about some fantasy football today.
We are.
And some real
It's exciting
football.
weekend.
We're going to talk about Terry McLaurin's extension. Don't you worry. Stick around. Yeah, we'll clap it up for that.
I would go.
We are going to talk about that. But final week of the preseason in the books. We'll break down some of the biggest things from that. But we're going to start our tiers right now. And we have to go with tight end.
Yes.
We're going to start with tight end. A lot of great tight ends this year, Matthew. But I think everybody starts looking at the top of, do I got to get one in tier one?
Yeah.
Like feeling the need of the Brock Bowers and George Kittles and Trey McBride.
Yeah, I feel like tight end is one of those positions of all of them in fantasy that before you even start talking about players, you really need to talk about how you approach the position. You know you're always going to get your running backs and your wide receivers. So I feel like
this
quarterback
year
and
in
tight end are the
fantasy
two where you
leagues,
sort of
I
sit
took
there and
tight
go
end
like,
pretty
all
early.
right, am I attacking this
Except for
early?
one of
Can I
them,
wait?
where
Is
I
there
took
some
quarterback
value in the
early.
middle rounds? Where am I going? And I think this year,
Kind of listening to what
specifically
Matthew Berry
around
had to
tight
say
end,
later.
I either want
Just telling
one of the elite
people,
ones. You've heard me
if
say
he
this
doesn't get one
before,
of the top
but I think
four
it's truer this
quarterbacks,
year than ever before. I want one of the elite ones. I want to be one of the first guys in my league to draft a tight end, or I want to be one of the last. So I really like
lose out at depth.
Bowers, McBride, Kittle at the top of the
don't,
draft. We'll talk about them in a second.
also
But if I don't
draft,
get one of these three guys,
quarterback and a tight end.
then I just, as I've been doing a ton of drafts, I've been waiting and waiting. Like I don't have
Got
a
Trey
lot of
McBride
the
yesterday.
Laporta, Hawkinson,
did my
Kelsey's
fantasy
of the
football
world,
draft
sort of
for
those
family.
middle tier
Was able to
guys.
get Trey McBride.
Because I don't think there's,
And I waited
once
at
you get to
quarterback
tight
with
end
Kyler
4,
Murray.
I don't think there's a
Kyler
massive
Murray
difference
had a lot
between
of
like
upside
tight
with
end 4
him
and
and
tight
passing
end 9
this
or
year.
10.
So
Right? I'm
pretty
much,
excited about
we'll
that.
get
I
into this, but
actually
I'd much prefer like
I
a
got
Njoku,
Kyler
a
Murray,
Tyler
Trey
Warren,
McBride,
even an
and I
Everett
got Marvin
Ingram
Harrison
that you
Jr.
can get much
So
later.
I
I think
basically
there's
have
not a
all
significant
of
difference
the
between those
passing
guys and then what like
offensive
the
Arizona Cardinals,
Hawkinson,
except for,
Laporta's of
James
the world
Conner
are
if he
gonna do.
catches
Also,
anything
as
out of the
we showed up
backfield.
there,
I didn't get
and
James
I'd like to see
Conner.
that again. Brock Bowers
It's
was an
interesting. I've
ADP
never
that's
stacked
within the
before,
top
and I
20.
actually did
I
2
mean, Matthew,
stacks
that's
in
a
drafts this year.
we love Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is
Bowers.
amazing. But
My other
the
stack
way
is with
he is
Dallas.
priced, it feels like he
I have a
has to
team where I
be
have Dak Prescott,
extraordinary
CeeDee
to match
Lamb. I
that
wasn't able
cost
to
of
get George
position
Pickens,
because they're passing up
but
so many elite wide
I'm
receivers.
pretty
and running
excited
backs.
about
Correct.
that.
You're basically taking Bowers a round or two ahead of McBride or Kittle. And the argument for that is that you feel really confident that he finishes the year as the number 1 tight end and significantly better, at least a round or two of value better than McBride or Kittle. And I don't think that's true at all. I think there's a very real chance that either Trey McBride or George Kittle is the number 1 tight end in fantasy this year. I find myself with a ton of Kittle this year. I have very little Bowers because
Your
the
dad
value
got
is so much
George
better.
Kittle
Like, I
yesterday,
think there's
right?
a real scenario
Yeah.
where, and we'll get into this, but like Trey McBride was the number 2
Is my
tight end in
cat
fantasy
behind
last
me?
year, scoring 1 touchdown. Like that's going to be
guys like
impossible
cats?
to, like positive touchdown regression is coming from
kitties
McBride,
right
I
here.
think, in a massive way. We've talked about Kittle, 20 touchdowns in the 34 games that he's played with Brock Purdy.
See, can you guys
As
see
we
the
sit here
cat?
today, it's Ricky Pearsall and like,
He's so cute.
I don't know, Sky Moore. Like, I mean,
Right.
who's
Oh,
running
well,
routes for these guys? I mean, the 49ers have said they
Busy,
expect Juwan Jennings to be
busy.
out there week 1. We'll see if he actually is and what kind of shape he is in. He's missed a lot of camp. Kittle, to me, is going to be a massive part of this passing attack.
Yeah, there's also talk about Juwan Jennings maybe going on IR if this doesn't get resolved soon, which is just like there's no.
It's
there's
so
a
weird.
huge
It's
like
very cloudy.
he could play week 1. We might not see him till week 5. I got no idea what's going on with Juwan.
Luckily, the 49ers are super
Yes,
transparent
yes.
about their
We'll know what
their
it is.
injuries and player timelines for returning. I'm sure whatever they say, whatever Kyle says, we can take to the bank.
On George Kittle, I'm with you where I find that in drafts, I go in thinking like, I like some of these guys later on, like Tucker Kraft and Don Kincaid
Yeah.
and stuff. So I go in thinking that I'm not going to pay for any of these tight ends. And then it's like pick 50 and it's like George Kittle or Chuba Hubbard. It's like,
Right.
what Like he's just sitting there because no one loves taking George Kittle because everyone's had George Kittle on their team before. They're not enamored of him. And so I think there's a bit of an inefficiency there. Connor, on Brock Bowers, I think the concern is that these previous like superstar tight end ones, there's been a lot of certainty about their role. Where Travis Kelce for years, it's like, all right, well, Travis Kelce's one of the greatest tight ends of all time. He's still playing with Patrick Mahomes. It's still Andy Reid. Know exactly what he's going to do. With Brock Bowers, it's a new coach. It's a new offensive coordinator. It's a new quarterback. They have a new superstar running back. Like, there's just a lot of variance for a guy who's going number one at the position.
And by the way, doesn't have a long track record of success. Now, again, he was amazing in college. He had a great rookie year. Like, I mean, so we're not doubting his talent. Like, I think barring injury, he's going to finish the year as a top 4 fantasy tight end. But
Was
how
not able to
confident are
get
we
any
that he
Brock
definitely
Bowers
is
this
better
year.
than
Very
McBride or
unfortunate,
Kittle?
but
And the
I thought
answer is,
he was
I
going
don't
way
think we're
too
super
early in the
confident
second
about that,
round for me.
especially given the fact that you have
Early
to draft
style
him,
pick, like I got Trey
in
McBride
some cases,
in
2
the
rounds
third
ahead
round.
of George Kittle.
That
The
was
cost is
decent
too
value.
expensive. And yeah, you love
But,
that he's the number 1 wide receiver
as
in his
far as
offense, where he's
taking
getting an upgrade at
tight end in the
quarterback in
second
Geno
round,
Smith, and the Raiders will
done
be
it
more
before with
competitive
Travis
this year,
Kelce on the
which
year
probably
that he
improves his
busted last
opportunity.
year,
But
and it blew up in my
pick,
face.
say I'm
So
picking 19th or 20th,
never
and
doing
Brock
that again.
Bowers is there where he's going, I could just draft a number 1 wide receiver on another offense as well, or a number 1 running back. So love Brock Bowers. Think he's going to be awesome this year, but I just don't know if I'm ready to pay that kind of cost.
Yeah, I mean,
for a
the
tight
third
end.
most catches ever by a tight end in a single season.
Really
He has
close.
his rookie with,
Really
like,
close timing.
Gardner Minshew.
I want to find the next version of him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to have to pay the price for what Brock
Next
Bowers
version
did
of him,
last year.
Colson
We're
Loveland.
going to get
He's gonna be
into
great
Tyler
this year.
Warren and those kinds of players. I want to
Tyler
find the
Warren,
next
yep.
version of, maybe not Brock Bowers, but 75, 80% of him.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is the DraftKings has his season props over under. His median outcome as 1,000 receiving yards and 5 receiving touchdowns. Like, that's just the reality. Like, last year, he was just shy of 1,200 receiving yards. He only had the 5 receiving touchdowns. There's scope for that to go up, clearly, but I wouldn't go in expecting the Brock Bowers is going to take another leap as the median outcome would just be like 1,300 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's not much. Like, could you, when the years in like where Travis Kelce was a first-round pick, like in the middle of the first round, he was just so significantly better than everyone else. And like, again, as great as Bowers is, and if Bowers gets to 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns, certainly within the range of possibilities, then maybe he gets there depending on what else McBride and Kittle does. But you're looking about Trey McBride, who had a 29% target share last year. He was a top 10 tight end 12, 16 weeks. And again, doing that was scoring like basically 2 touchdowns all year. We expect that equity to come up. Kittle had no player had more games with 15 or more fantasy points last year than George Kittle. But I think the other thing that's important here is we just sort of talk about the tiers. Kittle is my tight end 3. Laporta is my tight end 4. I have them over 30 spots apart in my overall ranking. So just in terms of like whether it is Bowers, McBride, or Kittle, I think that group is significantly better than the next group, which starts with Sam Laporta.
Yeah, let's go to tier 2 then. It is headlined by Sam Laporta, but it's a big group. You have TJ Hawkinson, who hopefully throughout a full season will get back to being his dynamic self. Travis Kelce,
David
quarterback.
Njoku,
second-year quarterback, but right, essentially a rookie quarterback.
Right. Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, who are
get targets.
on obviously the older side, but you're hoping for them to kind of stay
afloat
afloat of what they've been.
And significant target competition for both of them in the red zone. Obviously, Mahomes always throws it to a zillion different guys. Andrews once likely comes back, but you've also got Bateman and Flowers and
I also think Travis Kelce
Derrick Henry's always a threat to run it, right? DeAndre Hopkins, which you figure that's what they're going to use Hopkins for, is literally just
and Lamar Jackson scores touchdowns. Like it's so hard for
a lot of guys there as well. So to me, my favorite target of these guys are, I really like Evan Ingram.
Yeah. Right into the narrative that they need
I think
to
that
feed
offense
Travis
takes a
Kelce.
big step this year. Second year, Bo Nix. If you look at what they did over the second half of last year, once Bo Nix sort of found his way and started to get comfortable in Sean Payton's system, like
Travis Kelce, this is his last year.
really got
I think
comfortable.
Patrick Mahomes
Bo Nix is
will
legit, and so
give
when you've
Travis
got
Kelce the ball.
Sutton and Mims
I
and
mean,
some of these guys stretching
that's
the
how it
field,
is.
Evan Ingram's going to be the underneath guy, and again, he's just going to be
Last year, he
just another
didn't get him the ball as much.
PPR
Very
cheat code.
unfortunate. I had him in a lot
David
of
Njoku
leagues
is somebody obviously that we like a lot, especially as long as Joe Flacco was the starter in Cleveland. When you think about like just how much production Njoku had in those 5 games in which he was the starter.
But
to me,
you're probably going to
we've
get
talked about this
near
kid a lot
value
on
of
this
what
show,
he
but
used to be.
we We are the tight end
People are
show.
taking into account too much of
I have
last
a
year.
lot of Tyler
The year
Warren,
before he
and
kept
I
on
wish I had more.
underperforming.
Yeah, this year. I think a monster year
I
is
think
coming
this
for
year,
Tyler Warren.
If I don't
last
get
year,
Kittle and
come
I
back
have
here.
gone into drafts like you guys, where I either need in that 3rd round range the elite quarterback or George Kittle, honestly, that's what I'm going for. Then I go for Tyler Warren in almost every single draft. He's still not priced the right way, in my opinion. I think he's going to be a PPR machine. He's really good after the catch. There's a world now that it's Daniel Jones, not Anthony Richardson under center. He could get some goal line tush-push opportunities as well. I think Tyler Warren's going to be a monster this year. I would definitely expect him to be a top 10, top 8 tight end finish.
How do you think his skill set meshes with Danny Dimes?
Right, and that's hard because Daniel Jones, unfortunately, just hasn't been consistently good at one single thing most of the time. I mean, seriously, like that's. But
Just rated.
He's and yet still better than Anthony Richardson.
And still better than Anthony Richardson. But we know he's not going to throw the ball down the field. That means Tyler Warren in the intermediate is going to be a go-to kind of guy for him. So I actually think if you're looking for it to be bullish for a reason, it's actually a positive reason for him. We have a question here from Aloha Bricks. Is picking Tyler Warren in the 8th round too early?
Absolutely not.
No, I
Absolutely
think
not.
That checks the box of where you'd expect to try to get.
Yeah, I mean, I have him as a top 10 tight end. I think I have him off the top of my head. I think I'm a tight end 9 this year. And again, I still might be too low on him. I think he's going to have just a huge year. To your point, like they're going to use him in such a variety of different ways. You think about the last 3 tight ends that were drafted in the first round, which Tyler Warren was by the Colts. They all saw at least 90 or more targets as a rookie. He's averaging over 3 yards per route run this preseason, which
disrespected him a little bit.
Really, really good. You know,
line.
they're just using him a lot. I don't think he's coming off the field.
Surprise a lot
like
of people.
This is like again the days of the
Indy has a
Colts.
good
You know,
defense,
like
too.
oh, is it a Mo Alley Cox
Jones
play?
is,
Like you know, like the days of
very
the Colts
much a
using 8
suitable
billion tight ends
quarterback
are
to be
over.
in the
There's a
NFL.
reason why they used a top 15 overall pick on Tyler Warren. You think about Shane Steichen and some of the success he's had with tight ends in his career, especially when you think about Philadelphia. Tyler Warren is that dude. I'm not saying he's Brock Bowers, but he's going to be a lot closer than I think people are drafting him this year as.
Yeah, he's going 24 spots after Mark Andrews in drafts.
Wow.
Which
That's
to
crazy.
Me, I might just prefer Tyler Warren straight up over Mark Andrews.
Yeah,
Mark
his
Andrews,
fantasy life consensus
had him a
ADP
few
for
times, have him
redraft
in,
is right around
one of my dynasty
107.
leagues.
So 8th round would just be you getting slightly
And I
ahead
feel
of
bad
where
for the
he was
guy
going to
when he
consistently
dropped
go. But if
that,
you believe in
touchdown
him like
pass
we
in the
do,
playoffs.
then you take him in the 8th round.
And-
You make sure you get him.
Correct. And he's a trendy guy. Like, so,
Yes.
I mean, like, we're not the only people talking about Tyler Warren, obviously. And so, if there's at least one sharp player in your league other than you, Aloha Bricks, then I would say yes, 8th round makes a lot of sense. Don't be scared to reach and get your guys. Like, you don't want to get crazy here, but like
Sasha Sayers all
100%. If he's
over the
going
laptop
basically
right
in the 10th round, I have no problem taking him in the 8th.
I was
Or
trying
even
to go
the
up here,
7th,
but
honestly.
You've been
she's
pretty
shedding.
bullish on Dalton Kincaid going into this year as we move kind of to tier 3 here and show some of these guys. I wanted to start with him, though, because he's somebody we were talking about as a top 5 tight end pick last year, or top 7-ish. And now he's fallen all the way to tier 3. Do you think this is one where the pendulum actually swung too far the other way?
They spent a 1st-round pick on him like 2 years ago. Yeah. Like this, they invested serious capital in Dalton Kincaid. His rookie season, he showed flashes. And then last year, as you broke on the show, Matthew, so it's like he's dealing with a knee injury, and it really seemed to hinder him. And I think Josh Allen, as Dalton spoke about on this show, and he also shared a story about getting beaten up by a kangaroo in Australia. He's the only tight end in the NFL to share that kind of story on this show.
He's like a young Jake Kraft.
That's where it all began.
Huge
You can tell
University of
there's a little bias here.
Yeah,
he was great there.
But
I
look,
think Ben
he spoke
Johnson's
about how
going
Josh
do
Allen is a very
great
unique
things with
type
Colson
of
Love,
quarterback.
I think
He's
that
not just
he's
going to
going
sit in
to
the pocket
outperform
and
his
throw
ADP
in
this year.
structure all the
I have
time.
him on
You need to
quite
be
a
on the
lot of my
same page
leagues.
with Josh Allen. You need those reps to
think
develop
the Bears'
that
offense
timing.
is legit.
And we saw
Biden,
the Bills'
Ben
final
Johnson
play of the
likes tight
season.
ends.
Timing
think
slightly
Bill
off
Williams
half beat. He
probably
couldn't
will
make
feel
that catch
confident
against
with a bigger
Kansas City in the
target.
playoffs.
I think
But I
Colson
think
Love
that just
is
through
definitely
health,
somebody,
through just
you should be
he's on the
drafting
right
this
side of the
year,
aging curve,
especially
he's
if
going
you're
to get
waiting
better
at tight
naturally.
end. I mean,
And then also,
obviously,
like this Bills offense, it's annoying
Taylor
that Dawson
Warren,
Knox plays so
probably
much for
better
Dalton
pick,
Kincaid's
but,
purposes. But also,
somebody
if
else takes
Kincaid
him.
plays
I think
better,
Colson
he's going to
Love
earn
is
more
very
playing
suitable,
time. And there's no
this
one
year
on
to
this Bills
be
offense
tight
who's
end.
like peak Stephon Diggs who has to be the guy.
Right.
Like there is a chance that Dalton Kincaid, there's a chance he's the most targeted player from Josh Allen.
That's the point, right? I mean, you sit here and look at like, all right, what's his target competition? And yes, Dawson Knox plays a lot of snaps, but that's when they're playing 12 personnel, Connor. They're so different.
Right. It's really different positions.
Right, exactly. I mean, honestly, Kincaid is their slot receiver, right? And so it's like you've got Khalil Shakir, you've got Josh Palmer and Keon Coleman and Curtis Samuel still there. Like, to your point, there's no one there that's like, oh, peak Stephon Diggs, that like that's a guy that's got to get 8 to 10 targets a game. And so there's a non-zero chance that Kincaid is, if not Josh Allen's number one target, one of his top 2 or 3 guys as well. And so I'm just telling you, when I spoke to my source who's on the offensive coaching staff of the Bills, they were like, he was just hurt all last year. Like, he's going to have a big year. And so we'll see if that ends up playing out. But I do like, if you're down here in this range, I think Dalton Kincaid is really interesting. I think Tucker Kraft is really interesting, right? Third among tight ends last year in fantasy points per target last season, minimum 50 targets. And again,
Welcome in, guys.
sort of similar to the Bills.
We just have
the
replays
Packers
right now. I don't
they have a
know
lot
if
of
they're gonna do
guys,
new live
but with the
shows
exception of
later
maybe
on.
Matthew Golden,
I was
the
looking at the
rookie,
schedule.
right? But we haven't seen it yet. Like,
Exactly.
he has
For the
first-round
next,
draft capital, and
few
camp reports have been good, but like
I
we
think it's
haven't
all going
seen
to be
it yet.
replays of
And
this
I
year.
don't know that Golden's going to be a big red zone target regardless. Kraft, I think, is their best red zone target of all the guys that are in the passing attack. And I know they like to run when they get in close and they use Jacobs, but if we expect a better year, a positive progression,
I mean,
year for
I don't know if
Jordan
you,
Love, Dane, I know
if
you're high
anyone's
on
here.
Love this year.
I bought a ton of
I do think
Powerball
Tucker
tickets
Kraft
last night.
becomes
Nobody
really
won.
interesting,
The
especially
jackpot is
as a red zone
growing.
target here.
And the problem we have with this team so often is
I
we don't
can't
know
wait
which
to
wide
finally
receivers are going to be on the
win.
field the most.
I
Tucker
mean, the
Kraft
chances are
blocks so
what,
well that
1 in
he's just always on the
300
field. So you don't have to
million
have
or
that
something like
worry
that.
with him. This is from
Hopefully,
K-Dog Cuisine. Can Tucker Kraft be your
hopefully
tight
one
end
of you
one?
guys wins.
Will he be
if
the
not
second
me.
option in Green
Your
Bay?
family wants to.
I don't. By the way,
buy
K-Dog,
Powerball
I don't think
tickets
that's the
then?
proper spelling. I think it's
Your
only
dad was
one
pretty
G.
mad at me.
But yeah, K-Dog, yes, Tucker Kraft can be your tight end one, obviously, if you're waiting on the position. And I do think there's a real scenario where he could be the second option in Green Bay.
You're the first option.
There is a world where he is.
Right.
Some weeks, not.
But he's the. I mean, again, they sort of spread it around. They're going to be more run heavy than not. But yes, like, again, what do we care about when you're down in this range for tight ends? You're really just hoping, can I get a guy that's going to get a touchdown? If you don't have one of the elite guys, all these tight ends are sort of touchdown dependent tight ends where you're like, when they score a touchdown, it's great. And so I just think Tucker Kraft has a better shot at scoring
at least I
most
know
weeks
Jay is bought
than
into
most
Jordan Love.
non-elite
And
tight
if
ends
you're buying into
in
Jordan
the
Love,
NFL.
I think you should buy into
There
Tucker
as well.
Kraft
So
as well.
yeah,
Do I
I'm in
think
on
he's going to
him.
be a tight
I
end
think a
one?
couple of guys
No.
that you could
Just
argue
quickly
about.
Do I
on
think
Tucker
that
Kraft.
Yeah,
he's
go
going
for
to be pretty good this
Here's
year?
how I
Yes.
look at it.
I
So
feel
Jordan
like,
Love, his rookie
if
season was
you're
basically 2023.
hoping
It was
for
his
your tight
first
end
full
to
year
get
as a
anywhere
starter. It
from
was a bit of a
8 to
rough
maybe
first
like
couple months,
12
just kind of
fantasy
growing
points,
pains.
Tucker Kraft can
Week
fit right in
9
there.
to the end of the
He has
season in
touchdown
2023,
upside.
he was second in the
I think
NFL
Jordan
in
Love
EPA per
last
play
year
among quarterbacks. Only Brock
stunk,
Purdy was better. Last year,
as
does
far
his
as like
MCL
passing
in week 1 and
touchdowns,
then
except
does
for
his
like
groin
weeks
when he
1 and
comes back.
2.
He's banged
So,
up. The only stretch
I
where
mean,
I
if you're
thought he
buying
was
into
healthy
Jordan
was
Love
after the
bouncing back
bye,
this year,
weeks
Tucker
11
Kraft's
through
a big
17,
target.
third
We've
in the
we've
NFL
seen
in
him get
EPA
touchdowns
per play.
before.
When this guy has been
Is he going to
healthy,
be
he has
amazing?
been a
No.
top 3
But
quarterback in
is
the
he
NFL.
going
And if you're
to,
looking at the
put
Packers
up
offense through the
decent
scope of,
points, especially
we
if you
might have a
wait
guy who's like a top
a
5
lot
guy, like
longer
an
on tight end?
MVP level
Yes,
quarterback?
he
Well,
has
where's
that
the
upside
production going to go
too
to? Well, Tucker
of,
Kraft led the team in
he's the big
touchdowns
target
last
in the
year,
end zone.
and I don't really see a reason why he couldn't do that again. His skill set is extremely sustainable because it's built on yak, where he is just a monster after the catch. That is much more sustainable and replicable than relying on like 50-yard bombs. Like, he's just going to produce when he gets the ball in his hands. So yeah, I think he could be an absolute monster this year.
Yeah, really like him as well. He made the Love list. But speaking of Love, how about Colston Loveland? Final preseason game when he was playing with the starters, 71% route participation. Connor, by the way, that's thanks to our friend Dwayne McFarland at FantasyLife.com. He does a whole preseason utilization article. Highly recommended. I would go read that and check that out. But Loveland, who a lot of people were surprised was drafted over Tyler Warren. He was the first tight end drafted this year. And he lands in a great spot with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson.
All right, and Ben Johnson, who did an excellent job being a part of the process to take Sam Laporta at the top of the round
I
a
talked
couple
about
years
this
ago
earlier
and give him a
about,
mammoth rookie
again,
season. The skill set can be
Loveland,
used the same
Bears.
way. So Loveland, it's more just there's a
buying
lot of
into Ben
mouths to feed
Johnson's
in
offense,
Chicago
you should
that it
buy
might
into
be,
Colston
year
Loveland.
2 that he has
He's
that
just a great
monster
pick.
year. And here
Yeah.
we go from JM. Does Loveland match Laporta's production in Ben Johnson's offense? I think that's a lot to ask year 1, but he'll know how to utilize him, which is the most important thing. Cole Kmet is still there and still like it's.
I mean, Laporta. I think Laporta's production in Ben Johnson's office his rookie year, he was a top 5 fantasy tight end. And I don't think we're saying Colston Loveland's going to be a top 5 fantasy tight end. And I will just say, give me Tyler Warren over Colston Loveland if you're looking at a rookie tight end. Having said that, again, if you're in a deeper league, if you're looking for a second tight end with maybe some upside, especially
You're looking at dynasty, I think Colston,
or you just sort of punt the position and you're kind of down there looking through some of these guys. I do think Loveland is kind of interesting. And by the way, Jake Ferguson, as we talk about this, like, we are high on the Cowboys offense this year, going to be throwing a ton. And Ferguson, who was hurt much of last year, But the year before, was very productive, especially in the red zone. Dak Prescott throughout his career has always liked to target the tight end, especially in the red area. So I do think Jake Ferguson, fully healthy as part of this Cowboys offense, could be a nice thing this year.
I think this Cowboys offense, it's now one of the most streamlined and easy to understand fantasy offenses in the NFL, kind of in a similar way
Cowboys
to
are going
where the
to
Eagles
pass
passing
the ball
game has
so
been,
much
where,
this
all right,
year.
this is A.J. Brown,
a lot
Devontae
of
Smith,
CD
and Dallas
Lamb
Goedert. That's kind of
early
it.
in
With
drafts
Dallas,
this year.
it's just
I'm
Pickens,
buying into
Lamb,
Dak
Ferguson. I don't think anyone else is really going to get into the mix, so it's a very
he's gonna
known
be
role. And Dak
fantasy
is,
points
I
galore.
think, outside of Joe Burrow, I think Dak is the most likely guy to lead the NFL in passing yards because this team's just going to have to throw a ton.
Yeah, Baskets on YouTube asked, are we sleeping on Ferguson with a healthy Dak all season? That's definitely the reason to be glass half full. I think the half empty-ish would be George Pickens should get more targets in this offense, being a new face there. But yeah, Jake Ferguson, I mean, he's somebody that if you don't want to spend capital to get a tight end, he probably gives you a high enough floor at the position.
Yeah, Baskets, by the way, it's only one T. Once again, misspellings all over.
Not for Stone Smart.
Yeah.
Speaking of tight ends.
It's fair.
Some people do prefer the second.
Dak's going to have a great year.
But Baskets,
And
you're
fortunately,
100%
think the
right, because it's
Cowboys
not only
are,
a healthy
gonna be
Ferguson all
decent.
year, who he was banged up, but it's a
But I
healthy
think that,
Dak
you know,
as well.
Prescott
And so,
can have one of those big portals.
again, Ferguson
where
last year at this time
they're
was going
behind
as
in
a
a lot of
top
games,
10
and
fantasy
he's
tight end. He's
just
being drafted
passing
like
away
tight end
and
8 or
passing
9, and so
passing.
we don't
So,
think the
give
talent's
me a
gotten
lot
any
of Dak
worse. And so
Prescott. Give me a
if
lot
he's
of
healthier
CD
and Dak is
George
healthier,
Pickens, I think, will have a
2
good
years
role
ago,
this
Dak
year.
Prescott finished second in MVP. Like, it feels like a
I
lifetime.
mean, they're
He
eventually
literally
going to
finished
have a
second,
lead rusher.
and
I
Jake
don't know
Ferguson got
exactly
over
who it
100
is.
targets from him that year.
I mean,
Let's take a look
that
at
will
tier
come with
4.
value.
This is a little bit of the bargain shopping version
Nothing that you
of
can
tight
trust
end.
just
If you
yet.
plan on taking one of these guys, or know you're going to be on the waiver wire a lot.
All these guys,
This one headline Matthew
I
by
mean,
Brenton
Kate Otten
Strange,
last year
who maybe can
won me some of my,
outperform his
fancy football
projection of this
matchups.
offense.
you think about Liam Cohen coaching the Buccaneers last year. Kate Otten was a top 10 tight end on
There
a
you go.
per game basis. So
It's
Strange,
almost, I hate to
middle
say
of
it,
the
it's
field.
almost
We
like
saw
I've
what
watched
Ingram did
this.
with Trevor Lawrence last year. We know
But I
that he's
watch
comfortable
every
throwing
show,
the middle
so.
of the field. You've got BTJ and Travis Hunter stretching the field, so
Yeah,
Brenton
I
Strange
mean,
underneath
Kate
as
Otten,
well.
I think is,
Hunter
a
Henry,
good pick this
like
year.
team high 20% target
especially,
share for
like,
Drake May.
bench
We know
stats.
Josh McDaniels
I mean,
loves to use the tight end.
We're not going to have
I'm
Chris
sorry,
Godwin there to
you
start.
guys are on your own with Kyle Pitts there.
Kate Otten,
But
at least for the first
but
few
Zach
weeks,
or
might
someone else
be
can talk up
nuclear.
Kyle Pitts. I'm
You'll probably see a lot
moving
of waiver
on.
ads
I'm
of
moving on just to mention that with Chris Godwin out, Jalen McMillan out, could Kate Otten once again raise his head? Kate Otten was a thing last year.
For a while.
He's
He's saved a lot of people's bacon off the waiver wire that didn't have a tight
He
end.
really did. Zach Ertz, again, we expect this Washington offense to be very, very good. We're going to get to Terry McLaurin in a second, but Ertz was such a safety blanket for Jaden Daniels, and there was a reason why Washington brought him back. Jonnu Smith, we Connor, you and I were texting about this the other day, and we're talking about this, but like I tell my daughters, I have 13-year-old daughters, they'll be 14 in October, and so they're starting to get interested in boys now for the first time, and I tell them, it's awful. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. The texting and TikToking and Snapchatting. It's awful. But what
Matthew Berry's
tell you
funny.
here
He's talking
is that
about
I tell
how
my
his,
daughters, I say, listen,
girls are starting to get
I don't want you
interested in
dating a
boys
boy
now.
unless he looks at you the way Arthur Smith looks at Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no.
Oh, yeah.
Dad says no. Yeah, like
good test.
Arthur Smith, whether it's in Tennessee or Atlanta, he has always used Jonnu Smith. Now he's in Pittsburgh. And Connor, we were talking about this. Jonnu Smith is going to be used a lot more than any of us are comfortable with in Pittsburgh.
I think he's their number 2 receiver.
Yeah,
like genuinely. We know DK Metcalf got the millions and millions of dollars to be Aaron Rodgers number 1. He'll throw to Jalen Warren and the running backs a little bit as well. I think it's Jonnu Smith after that. I really do. Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to hold the ball long. It's a lot of quick stuff to Jonnu Smith. If you play PPR, Jonnu Smith is
I'm
value
buying
right now.
into
Just quickly on Kyle
Pitts on
Pitts.
my
I think
bench
it's gone a
this
little bit
year.
under the radar.
And
I
especially if I
We're
wait
back
at
to
tight
Kyle
end.
Pitts. I wasn't ready for that.
Well,
I'm
it's like Kyle
hoping
Pitts adjacent.
he
so
does
he's
really good
very
this year.
fantasy relevant.
Yeah.
Caleb
But
McGarry
I think Atlanta's had enough
knee injury and is going to
a
be
bad
seemingly
talking
out
of Kyle
long
Pitts.
term.
And I think they're
That's
going to
a
feed him the
massive
ball a
deal
little bit.
for the Falcons offense.
Well,
Is
they
their
pay
right tackle-
attention. They're
Michael
humans
Penix's
just
left
like
hand.
us.
That's his
They pay
blindside
attention to what
tackle.
we say.
And also, their backup tackle, Storm Norton, is also at 6 to 8 weeks. So now the Falcons have got a third-string blindside
Feel free to
tackle
use the live
for a
chat, too,
quarterback
if you
who's
have
played
any
3 games in
questions.
the NFL. Like Donald Mooney's got I don't know. That makes me double take a lot of things about the Falcons.
Luckily, Kyle Pitts is a great blocker.
They can just park him next
Hey,
to their
that's
backup
me.
right
That's
tackle.
me.
But
Right there.
real
that
talk, that's a
question,
great
that's me.
point, Jay. That is an amazing
I actually missed this on the
point.
live show.
Again,
I got
that's one of
logged
the
off.
issues with Kyle Pitts.
I
He
saw it the next
basically
day
is
and
an
I was just
inline
like,
wide
heck
receiver.
yeah.
He's not a blocker.
I love trolling.
That was why he was losing
He's,
time to Jonnu Smith before when
Right.
Arthur Smith was there.
He's a good
Even though
sport
they used
about
all this draft capital, it was because he couldn't block. And so the fact that there's already issues on the offensive line for, to your point, a left-handed quarterback who's going to make his 4th NFL start in Week 1. Yes, Evil Jay, what are the betting odds on Kyle Pitts for Comeback Player of the Year?
Thank you for the question, Clark Brady. Well, the literal story here is that the AP, the Associated Press, who governs these awards, was so disgusted with the outcome of Joe Flacco when he Comeback Player of the Year. They literally changed the rules so that you can't come back from sucking. Kyle Pitts did it last year, he just sucked. So he's ineligible to win the award because Joe Flacco literally ruined the award for everyone because he was so against the spirit. So we can't let this happen ever again. So he's banned. So he can't win. Literally can't win.
If you guys don't, you should definitely watch these live.
We appreciate,
we
appreciate.
I think Christian McCaffrey
people quite a bit. So
it's
really fun.
I think you are very likely right there. Just real quickly back to just some of these tight ends though about Jonnu Smith. Not only is he going to be I think the number 2 target in that Steelers offense, they're going to use him in the run game, annoyingly so. They'll line him up. And people forget this guy was a top 5 fantasy tight end last year in Miami. And I get that Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith is molasses compared to the speed that the Dolphins played at last year. But when given an opportunity, Jonnu Smith produces, and he's going as tight end 400. He's being left
Aaron
for
Rodgers
dead.
going to do it with New York.
No one will be excited when you draft Jonnu Smith, but in a bunch of deep leagues where you have to play, I'm in a crazy deep league where I have to play 2 to 3 tight ends. Don't get me started. It's awful. It's disgusting. But yeah, Jonnu Smith is my number 2 tight end in that league, and I'm very happy about it. In deeper leagues, I've been taking a lot of Jonnu this year as well. A couple other very quick deep sleepers at tight end. Again, if you're in these disgusting
in case you guys
leagues
missed it,
or dynasty leagues,
I'm seriously.
you talk about the fact that Jonnu Smith might be the number 2 pass catcher on the Steelers. Theo Johnson might be the number 2 pass catcher on the Giants. After Malik Neighbors, I don't know that there's anyone that's going to be demanding targets from Russell Wilson or Jackson Dart. You've got Darius Slayton there, you got Wan'Dale Robinson, and blah, blah, blah. But I know, Connor, that they really like the kid out of Penn State, Theo Johnson, 2nd-year player.
Yeah, I mean, gigantic human, great athleticism, somebody that can kind of stretch the seam, run the seam a little bit, and red zone presence. His last year at Penn State, he was really good in the red zone as well. So, listen, I think that's somebody that Russell Wilson can lean on in the beginning and eventually probably Jackson Dart.
We are very quietly 19% target share for Theo Johnson for the final 4 games of last year.
Yeah, as a New York media member, Connor, sticking on the New York media.
Who are some
topic,
of
100% sure Aaron Rodgers is done? You sure? Because I have still scarred in my brain for the rest of my life how bad Joe Flacco looked on the Jets in 2022. Whereas this guy can't move. He's not an NFL player. And then he gets out of the Jets.
Well,
he
he's bad
escapes the curse.
Yeah.
And then 2023, he looks good for 5 games.
I say, to defend you again, he had a 5-game Linsanity run.
Yes, he wasn't actually.
But then he stunk last year, Joe Flacco. Yeah. So
he still threw he got very lucky. He threw a lot of interceptions. He threw a lot more balls that should have been intercepted and were dropped in that 5-game stretch.
The way the Jets played that final game against
Flacco
was basically like me and you out there playing corner. But do you is Rodgers? Is there any chance Brett Favrean situation?
That Favre season was in Minnesota was nuts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is Rodgers done?
Rodgers
I don't know if he's done. The problem was when he got hit for a couple of weeks last year, he played clearly banged up and he was done then.
Yeah.
So can the Steelers protect him well enough that he's healthy in October, November, and December? I don't know.
I weirdly think
against the Patriots,
we've had a lot of fun with Arthur Smith on the show, and I think deservedly so. But I will tell you this: I actually think Arthur Smith is actually probably the right coordinator for Aaron Rodgers at this stage of his career, because it is going to be run heavy. It is going to get the ball out quickly. It is going to
check out
protect
of
him.
every play.
Well, exactly. I mean, if he lets Arthur Smith actually call the game, but
he checks out of so many plays.
In all seriousness, Arthur Smith did a great job last year with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, given what they have. And the issues with Wilson, when Wilson started checking out of it, and just if he just plays controlled and just doesn't try to do hero ball, but again, conservative ball control, quick throws, run the ball. Again, it's not exciting or interesting or fun for fantasy, but from the NFL, Arthur Smith drives us crazy, but he's not a bad coordinator. He's just it's just one that's
boring. And he does some
for fantasy.
He does some
head scratching things.
Jay Stabs. Only thing that worries me with Jonnu is Aaron hasn't typically supported top 5 tight ends in his career. I think Tunyon had the best finish at tight end 5 or 6 once in Aaron's 20-year career. Let me say this.
a long way to go.
That's not the topic.
We're almost
Jonnu
through
Smith
the
doesn't
first
need to be a top 5 tight end.
But,
Jonnu Smith is being
thank you for
drafted
watching
right
this.
now
I appreciate
as
it.
tight end 15 to 18.
Right.
So if you're like, oh, I forgot to take a tight end, I need somebody to be tight end 11 or 10. Jonnu Smith might be able to do that for you.
Yeah, and here's my other argument, Jay Stabs. I'm stabbing you now. Jay Stabs, what I would say to you here is that think about Aaron Rodgers' career, where for how many tight ends is it? Like, okay, fine, Jamarco Finley maybe, but like for so many years, he had Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams and Pete Randall Cobb. Like he had elite weapons around him at all times where the tight end didn't need to be a focus. Now he's looking at DK Metcalf and Calvin Austin. Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
Like, my argument is that Jonnu Smith, I would argue, is the second best pass
Pittsburgh's going to be
that
run
Aaron
heavy.
Rodgers is going to have on the Steelers, unlike all those Packers teams where they were just loaded at wide receiver.
I don't know if
again, you think about how good Jordy Nelson was for all those years, and Devontae Adams and Randall Cobb was awesome for years and years and years.
Rodgers had a peak season, I think 2014 with the leading.
I think they're going to be a
the
really
leading tight end on his team was Andrew Paulus.
Right.
Completely forgot that guy existed. But yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it's not like he was playing with Antonio Gates back in his prime.
Yeah, no, I mean, like Jermichael Finley was a thing for a moment,
right? And then I think he had a neck injury.
Yeah,
he was very good very quickly. By the way, our Jonnu conversation has sparked a whole new combo in the chat because of what Jonnu did in Miami last year about Darren Waller coming out of retirement, playing for Miami. I mean, that's got to just be watching, maybe add on waivers when you're real desperate one day, right?
Regulars talking up the rapper, Darren Waller.
Yeah, yes, that's his first career now. Second career is.
I love Darren. Listen, Darren Waller is literally one of my favorite players in the NFL. I've interviewed him multiple times. I've been on his podcast. His story is amazing. And like one of my all-time greatest calls of my career was the year Darren Waller's
coming back this year
for the Raiders. That he was like my big sleeper from the combine. I was just like, guys, I know they have Jared Cook. Like that, like the Raiders big guy was Jared Cook, and I'm like, I know they have Jared Cook, but I think they're getting rid of Jared Cook. They have a kid named Darren Waller that no one's ever heard of. I'm telling you, it's going to be a thing. And then, of course, he was a top 5 fantasy tight end. So I love Darren Waller, one of my favorite players of all time. But Chad Grant asking, do I think he's a deep league bench stash? I don't mind it. I just think there are better guys that I would probably stash. Like, let's see. He's been out of football. We just don't know what this Dolphins offense is going to look like.
Feel free to leave any questions.
Deep league. I'll tell you a tight end that I actually like more as a deep league stash, as long as we're talking about New York, Connor, and that's Mason Taylor of your Fighting Jets.
Speaking of could be the number 2 pass catcher in the offense theory, that welcome back to it with the Jets. I mean, it's Garrett Wilson and then maybe Breece Hall I'm talking pass catcher, and then Mason Taylor, who they love. He's going to start. He's going to play all the snaps right away. So there is a world where Mason Taylor has some value as well.
Jared Cook, by the way, caught the greatest pass of Aaron Rodgers' career in that playoff game against Dallas. Remember that?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Also, last fun fact on Aaron Rodgers' tight ends. 2019, Aaron Rodgers won the MVP with Matt LaFleur. His tight end won that year, Jimmy Graham. I wish I could believe he got 33-year-old Jimmy Graham.
I completely forgot that Jimmy Graham played there.
Yeah.
Who are Aaron Rodgers' tight ends is an all-time trivia question.
Yeah.
I can just fill them all
a
out.
lot of Robert Tunyon must.
Hello, welcome in.
Mercedes
Feel free
Lewis.
to ask
Big dog.
Mercedes Lewis, yes.
Yep.
Oh, man. All right, there we go. All right, in the chat, regulars, I'd like to hear your favorite Aaron Rodgers tight end as we move on. But yeah, no, Mason Taylor, the kid out of LSU, they like a lot. Like, again, other than Breece Hall, like it's Josh Reynolds, it's Alan Lazard. Like those are after Garrett Wilson, that's who they're competing with. So I do think both New York football, I think
my
all
fiance
the
is showing me
tight ends, Kincaid, Mason Taylor, Theo Johnson, all are interesting sleepers this year.
Big Ten Saturday Night is back live next Saturday on NBC and Peacock. We're kicking this season off from the Big House, New Mexico, number 14, Michigan. Here comes Saturday night.
But it ended up being
We're taking our first break. When we're back, we got reactions from all the preseason week.
Let's go.
Action.
U of M had a big win yesterday. Pretty proud of that.
Terry McLaurin's new deal with the Commanders right after this.
Defense looked great. Offense, I'm pretty good, especially since we have
This is where it happened.
Quarterback.
People still come up to me and talk about it. When you're in it, you're not thinking of the stories they'll tell. Just get yourself in the right position.
While we're on commercial,
you never know when a play will become legendary.
You guys can see this. So
when the moment comes, will you be ready?
Make it a season you'll never forget when you bet on baseball. Bet MGM Sports. Make it legendary.
1 o'clock.
I'm Chad. I work for a professional football team, and I earned my degree online
This
from
one at
SNHU.
2 is a
It fit
rerun.
with my schedule.
3 is a
Mondays,
rerun.
Tuesdays, those are packing days. I can get all my assignments
4
done. Wednesday, we're on the practice field. Thursday, initial discussion post is due. We're going to leave on Friday. We're
Then
playing an
7
East Coast
o'clock, I
trip.
think
I'm
we-
going to take advantage of the time
show.
spent on the
8
bus
o'clock,
and even in the hotel room.
So,
Finish
for the
any
most
of my
part,
other
you guys are
coursework that I
watching
needed to
with
do prior to
A
kick
lot
off
of
on
this is
Sunday.
just gonna be
SNHU
rerun,
and the support
but,
system, they make it possible. Go to
should be,
snhu.edu.
Geico has a
be a long
97%
day.
customer
Hopefully you guys stay
satisfaction
and
rate.
watch with me.
Wow. Our cats just love great customer
Feel free to
service.
use the
Customer
chat.
service.
Ask me
They don't get this excited for wet food. You
I
know?
can't see it on my computer, but I do have my phone
Get more
next
than
to
just
me right
savings.
now.
Get more with Geico.
In fact, if one of you could actually own something, I can actually do it.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
There's an EV for each side
You
of
guys
you.
eat answer a
The
hot
Kia EV9 and EV6,
really what I'm
assembled with pride in Georgia.
Bon
Kia,
appetit.
movement that inspires.
So,
If you feel like you're on the wrong road with your finances, Credit Karma can help you push through to a better place. Because that's how you gain the power to reach your horizons, wherever they may take you. Find your way to money with personalized guidance to improve your credit, savings, taxes, and more. Intuit Credit Karma. Karma you can count on.
You need to show up before motivation does. We are
Noble.
told that this
Great
feeling
brand.
is miraculously
I,
going to come upon us.
I have a lot of their
But the action is actually what creates the
Never bought their
motivation.
shoes. But I do have a lot of their shirts. Back when I was really into fitness, I love wearing the shirts.
Just do the workout.
And Bush Light got in the way. as you
Lace
guys
up
can
at
see.
nobleproject.com.
So
Just to be able to build the trust from the coaching staff,
Go
the offense as a whole,
Lions.
play callers,
In case you guys
and
didn't
then
know, Lions,
ultimately
Michigan,
my
huge
teammates.
Lions
I think it's
fan.
a super big thing for me as a rookie.
when they
Have you
sucked,
practiced that one
I'm
before?
here now.
I'm pretty
and
good
they're
at that.
It's
I've
great.
done it a few times and never done it in the end zone before, so that was the first time for that. But it was kind of just I
Hopefully you
didn't
can
really
win
know what
over
to do, and I
the
was on
wide
the ground like,
receivers
screw it, I'll do the worm.
in Detroit.
That was Lions rookie wide receiver Isaac Tesla, scored for the third straight game, and now is in position to jump Tim Patrick as the wide receiver 3 in
It's a
Detroit.
great story.
Tim Patrick's a
Tesla,
great
not-
story.
yeah, Tim Patrick's also an amazing story,
Yeah,
but
but
Tesla's a great story.
Unbelievable. This is someone at Arkansas, never had a huge
Hey,
season.
Madison, do
They
you mind
played him in
logging
the
in and
slot,
throw
despite
it in
being a
chat just to see if I can
massive
see it on
wide
my phone?
receiver.
Yeah.
So he played in the slot. It was a
Thank you so
weird
much.
passing offense. Then, he
This
was
is
kind of
cute.
not overlooked through the draft. He did go to the Senior Bowl, but he wasn't projected as a top 100 pick. The Lions, who are better than this at anyone, said, screw it, we're just going to take the player. They took him in the top 75. He's been one of the stars of the summer so far, and now is legitimately like one Lions injury away in their pass catching group from being a very, very notable piece of this.
Yeah, a very real chance that he at some point this season. My suspicion is that Tim Patrick will still be the wide receiver 3.
With the
Week one, just a veteran, everything like that.
All right,
but
we're back to action here.
he's impressed. By all accounts, beloved in the locker room, and you could see him jumping Tim Patrick at some point this season. And to your point, should anything happen to Amon-Ra St. Brown or Jameson Williams, you
Oh,
could
Tim
see
Patrick's gone.
us. I could see a waiver wire Tuesday
Yeah.
talking up Isaac Tesla
That's like
quite a bit. Interesting guy for Dynasty for
Before the
sure.
trade.
It's a rich man's Josh Reynolds.
I think
type
he
of
has
role
great
from a couple
value.
years
Right.
ago.
Yep.
Could
He had a pretty
be
big
the
year,
year.
quietly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
until he had all the
Great for
fumbles in the
Dynasty.
NFC title game and was never heard from again.
Yeah. We got to hear from Dan Campbell, though, specifically
Lions
on
love
how
passing.
they
They
could
like
use
hard
Isaac Tesla
workers.
early
He's
in the
huge.
season.
They're gonna
I'm
utilize
very
him.
pleased. We're very pleased with where he's at after 6 weeks of camp, because that's really what it's been. We just finished 6 weeks. So I would say if you took most receivers, he'd be in the upper echelon of those as far as development. He's it's pretty good, because it's not easy to develop as a receiver in this league and be ready to go. And I think there's a place for him to help us early in this season.
That's right. Isaac Tesla, he drinks for free today.
Yeah. Kids earned it.
Just 3 years ago, he was at Hillsdale
By the way,
College.
look at that picture, by the way. That's a good head of lettuce.
Yeah.
on
That's crazy.
I'm very jealous of it.
He's got like a Cobra Kai, action figure
like-
kind of look going on.
Young Matthew Berry.
Yes, that's what I thought as well, actually.
It's a little bit like, exactly, kind of a bad guy in Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
You know, just good looking, a lot of hair.
Could be an actor if this doesn't work out, but his NFL career is looking really, really promising right now. So, yeah, he could be a waiver wire midweek ad candidate throughout the week. How about Rome Odunze, a 27% target share? He has seen the most targets from Caleb Williams this preseason. Not DJ Moore, not the tight ends. It's been Rome Odunze.
Very strange player to get your head around Rome Odunze, right? He's a top 10 pick last year, and then had a bad rookie season. But how much do we separate that from everything that was going on around him? And now he comes into this Ben Johnson offense where is there a chance he could be the wide receiver 1 in the offense? Like, he was a top 10 pick. There has to be that chance, even though we think it's going to be DJ Moore, and he's the heavy favorite to do that. But yeah, there's just a lot of moving pieces on this Bears offense, and there's a huge range of outcomes.
Well, so much was made about Ben Johnson coming into Chicago, and your job, hey, Ben, your job is fix Caleb Williams, make that right, which makes sense, right? And that's the priority, and that's what he's been doing, right? But you could certainly say, it's like, oh, by the way, you also have this guy that, a year ago was one of the best wide receivers in college football and was widely considered a top 10 pick, and that's what you guys use him. So fix him too,
right,
as a part of this. And so I don't put that much into the 27% target share, other than the fact that DJ Moore's a veteran and he played with Caleb Williams last year, and they sort of know what they have there. But I could see Ben Johnson saying, like, as part of me getting Caleb Williams right, I want to get Rome Odunze right. So let's call some plays, let's script some stuff to make sure we get the ball in his hands and try to establish that connection. And certainly, when you think about where Odunze is going in drafts, like, no one is taking him at all. I haven't really people haven't talked about him as a sleeper.
85th is his ADP. He's not taken in the first 30 wide receivers. For perspective, his range of players is Chris Olave, Jerry Jeudy, and Jordan Addison, who won't play 3 games to start the season.
Do you think that
I take the Odunze bet on those 4 guys?
Do you think it's gone a little bit too far in terms of how Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. are viewed relative to Marvin Harrison and Rome Odunze? Because it's like 12 months ago, and I understand, we take Neighbors over all those guys, take BTJ second as well, but like, those guys have been, relatively written off compared to where they were last year.
With Odunze, it does feel like it's gone too far because this offense was a disaster last year. And look at Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson knows how to get, the most out of wide receivers as well. So I'm higher on Odunze than his drafted range of being the 33rd receiver taken.
You're just betting. You're betting on Ben Johnson. You're betting on a better year out of Caleb Williams, and you're just betting on talent there. Like, he didn't forget how to play wide receiver. Odunze. Yes, he had a bad rookie season, but again, that offense was a mess last year. One last note on the Bears pass catchers here. Luther Burden, who, again, was a high draft pick, but remains behind Olamide Zaccheaus. Former Washington Commanders great, Olamide Zaccheaus.
Ring of Honor, future Ring of Honor.
Yeah, exactly, future Ring of Honor. But Zaccheaus is a guy that, like, whether it was the Falcons, the Commanders, it sort of always makes plays. And anyway, he currently is ahead of Luther Burden for that wide receiver 3 role with Chicago. But I do think Burden is a guy that, like, again, if you have a deep bench, we've seen this so many times where a rookie wide receiver over the second half of the year, it sort of clicks in for them. Burden feels like he's one of those guys that, like, we like Zaccheaus, but, like, there's a reason why they drafted Burden.
He took Burden in the second round for a reason. He's had some nice moments this summer where you can kind of see the talent of why he won.
I don't know what he is.
Thought as a future top 10 pick, not a second round pick. But I think, expectations should be weighed down a little bit to start the season, Jay.
Yeah, very interesting receiver room in general. Starting now, I was going to say also, as we mentioned before, they got 2 tight ends too. I think one random little thing is that if Odunze starts the season poorly, kind of bodes well for Michael Penix, given that Jalen Polk has done nothing so far. Odunze was not good last year.
McMillan's hurt.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, well, is Michael Penix just like an absolute superstar?
I was a long-time believer of that, to be honest with you. I think Odunze's, he's separated himself from a lot of those guys.
Same thing with, like, Bo Nix. Like, Bo Nix's receivers haven't really lived up to expectation either, and he's vastly exceeded them.
Yeah. By the way, good segue there when you mentioned Bo Nix's college receivers, because Marvin Mims played full-time with the starters again. Troy Franklin, college receiver for Bo Nix, was the wide receiver 3. Pat Bryant, the wide receiver 4. So we're getting more clarity in Denver as well. So again, to your point about, like, Bo Nix's college receivers, like Troy Franklin, we're still waiting on Troy Franklin to do something here again. He's the wide receiver 3.
The
Bryant
Mims
was
should
the
be,
4, but it is once again. It
leader
looks
in
like it's
goals
going to be
pick
Sutton and
this year.
Mims on the outside for the Broncos and Bo Nix.
Yeah,
Last year
I like
he
this
did
wide
great.
receiver room. I just think there's
was
nobody
going,
really out in front of the pack after
solo.
Sutton. That's the problem with it.
He,
Franklin's a great deep threat. Marvin Mims can stretch the field. Pat Bryant's the opposite. He's the possession guy. But he's probably got the best hands on the team in terms of the short areas.
Probably bodes well for Bryant that they were okay with moving on from Devon Bailey.
That's a really good call.
It really is. I've always been obsessed with Marvin Mims, and I just don't know why he can't get a full-time role. I love the player, love the talent. I will say this. Cortland Sutton is the most boring guy going in the middle rounds that is going to have just a monster year. Like you see, again, if you're expecting Bo Nix to take another step forward, which we are, or I am at least,
he should be pretty good.
It's a Sean Payton offense, which is always fantasy friendly. Cortland Sutton's getting a north of 40% target share. He is going to be a wide receiver 1 for a very good offense. And I don't know if it's just because he's just sort of bounced around a little bit and he plays out west and every week he makes one crazy highlight catch. But I think Cortland Sutton is going to just have a huge year and massively outproduce ADP.
Yeah, he's kind of like the DeAndre Swift of wide receivers. Nobody really is excited to take him. And then you look at the volume and where he finishes at the end of the year, and you're like, wow, he's very productive for where I got him.
This is quarterbacks have been he's Drew Lock and stuff. He just hasn't until Bo Nix came along. He hasn't really had that report. And it didn't Russell Wilson just didn't really kind of happen there either. So this is the breakout.
I have a ton of Cortland Sutton this year. Really excited.
Our last bit of wide receiver news. Congrats, Matthew. Terry McLaurin back in the fold. 3-year extension, $96 million.
I don't know what just happened to my
$96
camera,
million. So Terry McLaurin, we're going to have plenty of more wide receiver news tomorrow when we do our full positional preview. But you have to feel good, not just for Terry McLaurin and the Commanders, but for Jaden Daniels that this is done.
Well, that's unfortunate.
This is great for the Washington offense. It's great for Jaden Daniels, and it's great for Terry McLaurin. One of the when I tweeted this out or retweeted the news, some of the questions but is he in shape? Yes. Terry McLaurin, by all accounts, has been working out very hard. He's been with a team, and while it's been a little bit of a hold in, he's familiar with the offense. He's still in very good shape. There was no real injury. It was more contract related as well. And so I think he steps right into the role that he had last year. Now, you do have Deebo Samuel there as well. So there's increased target competition, and I don't know if he got lucky, but his touchdowns last year were at a career high. Much big. He's never been a huge touchdown scorer. Now I get it. The quarterbacks between Jaden Daniels and everyone else he's had is just a wide gap there. But I think he's a top 30-ish wide receiver. We'll break it down more tomorrow, but I think he's basically right inside the top 30. I think he's a wide receiver 3 is what he is this year. But I think this is great for the Commanders' offense. I think it's going to open up more stuff for Deebo Samuel, and obviously, Jaden Daniels is my number 3 quarterback who has a real shot at being the number 1 QB in fantasy this year.
Let's talk about some of the backfield rotations coming out of week 3 of the preseason here, guys. And this is a lot of talk about the ugly backfields in the NFL. We start with the Browns. Dylan Sampson and Jerome Ford, they split work evenly with Joe Flacco in the game, Matthew. So, this is one of those things where Quinshon Judkins it's gonna be a while, and now you have.
Oh wait, yeah, it's so the Judkins thing is so weird because he still hasn't officially signed. Right, so he's been cleared of the criminal case against him has been dropped.
But the NFL investigation is
ongoing.
But
we've seen other guys that have been, where an NFL investigation is ongoing and they've been with a team, and so I don't know. The point is that I don't mind Judkins as a late round stack.
It says now,
but if you're drafting a starting running back for the Browns, it's really a split between Sampson and Ford. I prefer Sampson just because I figure there's going to be more touchdown equity. But basically, with Joe Flacco in the game, with the starters in the game, it was split evenly between Sampson and Ford. Looks like DJ Giddens is going to be the number 2 Colts running back. He's won the backup to Jonathan Taylor job as well. And Kendre Miller, the favorite to be the number 2 behind Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, Kendre Miller, somebody that the Saints have been waiting for him to get going for a while. We got to hear Kellen Moore on just how well he thinks Miller has played this summer. A player they've been waiting to break out.
I'm still here.
Kendre has just had a really steady entire offseason. I thought he's done a phenomenal job. Training camps, he's just been consistent week in and week out. These games, I thought he runs really, really hard. He's a physical player. We like what we've seen. He has tremendous work ethic. He's really focused on this opportunity. You can just feel it. I think his preparation that has gone into this thing, he's put a ton of time and effort into it. He handles a lot of volume, and I think that's really, really valuable. When you're behind Alvin, we're going to ask you to do a few different things, and you're going to have to be ready to hop in here and there. And so, whatever's happened in the past, I don't really care about, because what we've seen has been awesome.
That's great.
Yeah,
Love
Saints,
to hear it.
Saints finally getting a good feel summer out of Kendra Miller.
Yeah, it's taken a while. It's been taking a while. He's had an inconsistent career in New Orleans, but new coaching staff feels like getting Kendra up to speed. And so we like the talent.
How about some rookie running backs? Rashard Smith played as RB3 behind Pacheco and Hunt. This feels like someone, Matthew, that could have maybe some pass game work or some kind of role at some point.
Yeah, especially second half of the season.
Right.
Like, I don't know that, again, Pacheco is so fascinating because he was so good. Then he got injured and came back last year and looked like he was just running in mud. Kareem Hunt wasn't anything spectacular last year. He was just better than Pacheco. But it does feel like Smith, who has just, some explosiveness there that Pacheco and Hunt don't have. Be interesting to see, could he have the Jerick McKinnon role in this offense a little bit to start out, and they try to use him as a pass catcher a little bit. And then at some point, we'll see how that plays out down. But, just an interesting guy for the second half of the year.
Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the Bill hype continues, fellas. It just feels like, Jay, he might be the Commander's starting running back before we know it. I mean, didn't play, held out with a lot of starters right now. Obviously, Austin Eckler's there, and they like Chris Rodriguez, but the JCM hype, it just feels like it's rolling and getting bigger every day.
Yeah, it's a very good indicator, much as it was for Pat Bryant with the Broncos moving on from Devon Vele. The fact that they were able to just like banish Brian Robinson just didn't seem. Yeah. They were already talking about Brian Robinson like he wasn't on the team before they traded him. Because some of that has to be informed a little bit by confidence in JCM. So look, it's going to be a committee. He's not going to get 20 carries a game, but he's probably the running back that you feel best about in this backfield now.
Sometimes you get information in preseason games by who plays and how much they play, but sometimes you get information by who doesn't play. Again, you mentioned Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt did not play as they rested a bunch of starters, Washington did. It's worth noting that Nick Chubb rested for the Texans. He did not play. Damian Pierce started and played 2 drives. And Blake Corum, he also did not play with as the Rams rested their starters. Jarquez Hunter played 3 drives. Right. So it feels like Chubb over Pierce in Houston behind Mixon. And again, we don't know Mixon's availability for week 1. And then so the original Chubbler.
The original Chubbler, the OC.
Yeah.
The original Chubby.
The original Chubby.
The left behind
McDonald's
character.
And
touchdowns.
And for those who are looking for an insurance back to Kyron Williams, looks like Corum over Hunter for right now.
For all of our real sicko regulars out there, you can catch multiple draft season marathons of fantasy football happy hour over the next few weeks. That includes next Sunday at 9 a.m. and a mammoth 12-hour marathon on August 31st. That's all for free.
I'm just going to tell you this. If anyone can prove that they watched all of this marathon, like on Sunday, August 31st, which is Labor Day weekend, if you somehow prove that you watched that, we will put your name up. You will drink for free here, and we will put your name or a photo of you up somewhere here on the set. So that's a shout out to all the regulars. Can you prove that you watched one of our draft season marathons on the NBC Sports Now channel?
We're taking our last break. When we're back, we're looking at the odds for the AFC West potential winner.
I've minimized my work distractions and upped my productivity with this one simple trick. Whether I work from home or from my favorite cafe, there's always going to be distractions. But that's when I discovered Loop Engage, which filter up to 16 decibels of sound. This gives me laser focus while they filter out all of that unnecessary background noise. They come with 4 different sizes to find your perfect fit for maximum comfort for hours. I found my productivity has increased dramatically throughout my working week. So if you're like me and get easily distracted, then give Loop Engage a go, because trust me, you won't look back.
Where you go when you dream should feel extraordinary. Immerse yourself in the naturally cool, crisp feeling of the finest 100% organic cotton. Boll & Branch bedding is crafted for the pure luxury of feeling refreshed all night long. Let extraordinary take over and experience cool, unparalleled comfort. Only at Boll & Branch.
Finished my chores. Ready for my allowance.
Greenlight is way better than how I got paid for chores. Mowing all those lawns really paid off. That was not radical.
Bring your family into the financial future. When you first saw the metallic sneakers, all you could hear was Where'd you get those shoes?
Where'd you get those shoes? Where'd you get those shoes?
And the question was no longer, can you pull them off? It was, how can you not? Because the sneakers don't make you. You make the sneakers. DSW, a shoe for every you. Where'd you get those shoes?
Hey, can you speak French?
Who, me? I know a few words.
If you're struggling to speak a new language, you should try Babbel, a learning platform designed by over 200 language experts. It's like having your own personal language coach. Guided conversation practice gives you the confidence to speak your new language in the real world. It's totally flexible, so you can learn at your own pace. And with the right practice and coaching, start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Go to Babbel.com to claim your limited time offer today.
Quality healthcare shouldn't take up all your time. Hims offers access to doctor-trusted treatments for hair loss, ED, and weight loss 100% online. Answer a few questions about your health history to connect with a licensed provider in hours, not weeks. You can get personalized treatment, 24/7 support, and medication delivered directly. No need for insurance or appointments. Get the care you need and get back to your day. Expert care 100% online. Get started today at hims.com.
The NBC News mobile app. Get connected to your favorite news shows. For the top stories, breaking news, and live video, download the NBC News mobile app now.
DraftKings is the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, and right now, all Pick 6 customers can play free for a share of DraftKings' biggest bag ever.
Still not
Get
able
all
to
6
access
picks
my
for your
camera.
cut of $1
I'm
million
gonna
or more.
switch
Just
over.
download the Pick 6 app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. Ride the upside with Pick 6. It's time for last call. Let's take a look at the AFC West odds, courtesy of our friends at DraftKings. Jay, anything bold here, betting against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid?
No, I'm just going to bet on Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid at -115 to win the division. What I will say, though, first 10 weeks, Chiefs have to play the following teams: Eagles, Ravens, Lions, Chargers, Washington, Buffalo, Denver. I'd wait until midseason to back them.
I like that. I like the -115 number. I don't think it's a crazy number, though.
No,
I'm with
it's
you.
not.
I'm going to take the chalk, take the Chiefs.
Just to be contrarian here,
Somebody
give me
be
the
brave.
Broncos at +350.
There we go.
Again, the defense is as good as there is in the NFL. If we think Bo Nix takes another step, as we do, and so, listen, at some point, the Chiefs' run has to end. They're still going to make the playoffs, but could they miss the division title? I think there's a chance. I think Denver's got a shot. They were like a missed field goal away from beating them last year.
Right, yeah, totally fair.
Let's a blocked field goal. It's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here for Jay and Connor. I'm Matthew Berry. We will see you tomorrow.